Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this is an instance where the homeowner, Soledad Corona, was living here. She got a loan in 2008, and at that time, everything seemed to be fine. She was paying her loan and so on. In early 2009, I believe, she was in an auto accident. Her car was totaled. She didn't have coverage. She had to continue paying the car loan. She had disability. She had to stay off of work because it was a serious accident. So she fell behind a little bit in her financial status. So she went to the bank and asked for a loan modification. In doing that, the bank essentially agreed. They told her that they would give her that loan modification, and she continued to work with them to complete that process. At the same time, the banks did what we've now known they do, which is dual tracking. They continue to foreclose on her, and they actually foreclosed on her before the loan mod was completed. Interestingly, what we found out is that in Ms. Corona's original contract, there is a paragraph in there from HUD, Housing Urban Development, that essentially directs the lender not to foreclose, directs the lender not to accelerate a foreclosure process, and that's exactly what they did. So she hired a lawyer, she fought it. Unfortunately, her lawyer wasn't, I guess, the strongest in argumenting or putting the case forward, and so she continued to lose even after several appeals. So that kind of led to the point where essentially Bank of America thought that they could go ahead and evict Ms. Corona, which took place this past December during the holidays. It also happens that during that time, Bank of America had put out a press release saying that they would not foreclose or evict or take any actions against homeowners during the holidays. So Ms. Corona turned to another lawyer who happened to have a lawsuit against Bank of America specifically on that issue, that they were not to take any actions against homeowners during the holidays. So Ms. Corona became a class action representative of that lawsuit. Again, this was filed, the banks knew it, and Ms. Corona actually advised the bank that this had happened, and that was what permitted her to go back into her home. At that point, we thought things were at a standstill. The bank was supposed to go through a process of notifying and letting her know if they were going to evict again. In this case, that didn't happen. And in fact, they had LAPD, Los Angeles Police Department, come in earlier today and evict Ms. Corona. And again, that's something that many of us who have been learning about this process know LAPD has no jurisdiction in doing this, but they did it anyway. And that goes to show us that the banks do control much more than they should. They are able to essentially break the law, as they've been doing. Ms. Corona has reviewed her documents and found out that there is much greater fraud that the banks have committed. And again, we'll continue to fight that. And so this evening, we're here to point out to the public and to the bank that we know of this, that we won't stand for it. Ms. Corona has every right to be in her home and to contest what the bank has been doing. There is a lot of illegality in there, and so we're expecting that at about 7 this evening, Ms. Corona's lawyer will be showing up. She'll have the right documents. There's a lawsuit that she's filed, and she will be able to make a very clear, strong press message, letting people know exactly what has happened and how, again, this has been illegal, fraudulent, and it is harassment of homeowners. It's happening to many. It continues to happen. We see laws that are being passed that are supposedly protecting homeowners. They're not really protecting them. The banks continue to do as they please. And we've seen that they've been given bailouts. We've seen that they've had to pay penalties supposedly to compensate for what they've done. And we know that a lot of those, I guess I'll say, fines and so on that they paid, which runs into a few billion, are not getting to the homeowners. And those billions are nothing in comparison to the profits that those banks have made, which number in the trillions. So this is a reason we're here, and we're going to make a statement, and we'll continue to fight for the homeowners and the rights of others here.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.